This book is like if the mafia subplot in Jaws was more important than the shark. Razorback, the 1981 novel by Peter Brennan. How do you create a story that doesn't have the title creature be the main threat? Simple. You take notes from Razorback. The plot. Beth Winters is a reporter/activist who gets caught in a bad situation. She steps on people's shoes and oversteps her boundaries. This results in her disappearance. Her husband, Gene, and sister, Virginia Winters, both start up a search for her. Meanwhile, something is roaming in the outback. Something that a man, Jake Cullen, once encountered and destroyed his life. Who can survive in the brutal world of the Razorback when it's around? I will go more in depth about the differences between book and movie in a paper versus picture episode in the future. This book was a bore. No, not the pig. Bore. It is seriously boring. And for about 200 pages, nothing really happens. Nothing seemed more important than the investigation, and I found less than half of it interesting. The Razorback had about 10 pages of actual book time. There's an adolescent kangaroo, that is introduced in the opening scene. Even it gets more description and personality. And it's an animal like the Razorback. Character-wise, this book is filled with poorly written people. Virginia has her sight set on taking over Beth's position. She wants headlines and isn't satisfied otherwise. Gene and Beth had a rocky relationship before she disappeared. I did like the fact that Gene becomes interested in the activist side of Beth's work. It is something the movie didn't touch on that I actually appreciate here, even if it's pretty much said in passing. There's also a policeman, Briggs, that gets involved. He contributes in the search, and I like that he wasn't a dick like his character could have easily been. Jake Cullen is not a super strong character. Hell, he isn't even the main character. His son was the one to be killed by the boar, and his wife left him. He now looks after Sarah and her mother. Sarah is 16, if I remember correctly. Her mother, Mary, is very ill, and Jake helps with odd jobs here and there around the property. Even Benny and Dicko don't feel as important. They come into the story 3 times, and then are pretty much forgotten about for the rest of it. There are too many characters, and I felt that they didn't seem important. But some were, and it was like a balancing act. Pet Pack is a huge part of the story. It really feels like it's the core of Razorback. Pet Pack is pretty much the slaughterhouse of the town that supplies kangaroo chunks for dog food, pretty much. The gore, there's some intestines gored out and some vile descriptions of pigs, but it isn't particularly gory. This was a huge disappointment. I was expecting something bigger and maybe bloodier than Razorback the movie. Instead, we got a crime mystery thriller. If you want to subject yourself to it, then keep in mind this book is almost 400 pages, and 10 of it, like I said, have the Razorback. And if you aren't invested in this book, then it'll be a long read. This one took me about a month because I was doing other things, and I got sidetracked a lot because I wasn't interested. It is not a terrible book. Don't let me get you wrong. It's written professionally, but it doesn't have that same atmosphere the movie had. We'll get to why the movie and book are so different in terms of quality soon, I promise. But right now, I have to say that overall I give Razorback a 2.5 out of 5. Lion Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and to leave comments and subscribe.